I'm Mida Milligan, and I'm here with Dr. Bob Morrison, our superintendent, and this is the first of our 2016-17 superintendent updates. It's the beginning of school year, lots of exciting things happening. We've got renovations going on in our schools, steel going up at the new CTE Center, and something really exciting. We've just finished the deployment of one-to-one iPads for every high school student. And Dr. Morrison, you led that initiative, and now it's a reality. So tell us about how that got started.
Well, originally, Mida, it got started with the strategic plan. If you remember back a couple of years ago, there was around 2,500 individuals in the community that got together and really mapped out what the district wanted for their students over the next 2 to 3 years. And one of those was the iPads. And so then that was included in the bond program, which was passed in 2014, and now you're seeing that rolled out in high school this year, and then the next year rolls out to middle school. So next year, the excitement with high school that's going on this year, we get middle school kids with them next year.
So how has the process been?
Process has been flawless. Dr. Brubaker and Lori Vondasar's group has been amazing. Our technology department. We've had people from Apple here on deployment and everything, and every one of them sit there and say it's one of the best ones they've ever seen. Our technicians were monitoring the Wi-Fi usage, our bandwidth, to make sure when kids, how the devices are being used during the day, as far as streaming videos and all those kinds of things, to make sure the network doesn't crash when all of a sudden you turn on 17,000 iPads. And so it's been great. And this is the second time I've been through a deployment, and I can tell you it's the best one I've seen.
Well, that's really good news. And I hear the same thing when I'm out and about at the schools. So what did we do to prepare teachers or parents so that we had this smooth transition?
Okay, so teacher preparation started about 1.5 years before the kids got theirs, because we figured, teachers are not digital natives. A lot of the teachers, my age, a few years younger than me, they didn't grow up with iPads and those kinds of devices. So we've all learned those things in our adult lives, where the children, our students, my daughter who's in high school, she's grown up with the devices her entire life. So we wanted to give the teachers a head start. So we've been training teachers for 1.5 years in the district, in our curriculum department and our professional development department, to try to, for them to learn how to use the devices, how to incorporate them into the curriculum, how to use them into the classroom, all those kinds of things that they can use them for. Hoping that 1.5 year head start would be enough head start, because once the kids get them, we realize the kids are then going to push the teachers even further because they're used to them. And I think that's what they're experiencing right now at the high schools, is now that they have them, the teachers are saying, okay, so now that my students have a device, how can I sit there and now use this to better enhance what's going on in the classroom?
So what is going on in the classroom? How will things change either in the classroom or maybe even at home?
I think the biggest thing that parents will see is that connectivity when it comes to students who are gone for various reasons. They could be sick, or they could be at a band contest, or they could be traveling on a debate team. Because of that connectivity, and the teachers can communicate, and the teachers have blogs going on, and the teachers are able to send out their homework and stuff through different emails and stuff like that. There is no loss of time anymore. So the time gap that used to exist when a student was absent, it would take a couple days for teachers to gather paperwork, to gather their homework, and then students would have a couple days to finish it. Students now, when they're gone, the parents know that, hey, if they're homesick and that it's one of those, let's say they're too sick to go to school but not too sick to work, they can actually do their homework at home, because they can connect right then and get their assignments. They can work on things. They can work on things at night now. If they want to sit there and go to different websites like Khan Academy, we'll talk about that in a little bit. They can look at tutorials on, let's say you're in geometry and you want to look at a tutorial in that geometry class or something. So there's all sorts of ways that we can stay connected now, and that's where it changes, because it puts the information that the students used to have to go to libraries and research right at their fingertips.
That's amazing. And it sounds like if every student has one, you've really kind of leveled the playing field for students and created some equity.
That was one of the goals in the strategic plan, and the community said we want all of our students to have exposure to these devices, because we are trying to prepare all of our students for post-high school, whether that means in the workforce or in college. I've never been to any business that doesn't have a computer in it. So even if your desire is never to go to college, no matter where you go to work, there's going to be a computer involved. There's going to be technology involved. So our job as educators is to prepare them for whatever decision they make, to give them the right skill set so they're ready to do that as they leave us.
So let's talk some more about digital resources. You mentioned Khan Academy, so that's one of the things they can access. And how will that make a difference for them now that every student will be able to access that?
Okay, so for the parents that are maybe watching this that don't understand what Khan Academy is, I'm going to back up a little bit and kind of describe what Khan Academy is. It was started a few years ago by a gentleman who was trying to tutor his own, I think, nephew or niece or something like that. And then he got some nonprofits. And then now, as a parent, one of the things, I was pretty good in math, but it's been a while since I've had Algebra 2. I may be a little rusty on it. So if you're a parent and you go to the website of Khan Academy, there will be tutorials where you can actually watch a lesson on that particular, let's say they're doing multiplication and division of, fractions or something. You can watch that video so you can understand it so that you can help your child, or your child can watch it. And let's say they understood it when the teacher explained it, but as a lot of us, the teacher explains it, you get it, but when you go home, you don't exactly remember exactly what was said. It's a way for the tutoring to continue at home. But the other thing that Khan Academy does, yesterday in the district, all of our students took the PSAT. And one thing that Khan Academy's done is they've partnered with College Board, and the College Board does the AP test and the SAT and the PSAT test. A lot of people don't realize that's one group. Well, you can take the results from your PSAT that we get back in a few weeks. Parents, all of our students have a Khan Academy account in the district. We did that last year. So we have 100% of our students that took the test last year, the PSAT last year, that have a Khan Academy account. What will happen is Khan Academy will take your results from the PSAT and create your own study guide for the next year's PSAT. So if you're out there and if you're a parent and say, well, I need my child to score a little bit better on the PSAT because I want them to try to be a national merit, but I can't afford fancy tutors, I can't afford somebody to tutor my child after school. It's provided free for them. And then as a part of our high school curriculum this year, we're having our students at least go to the Khan Academy 3 times a month to practice that. Doesn't have to be for a long period of time, but even if it's just for 15 minutes, they get them used to going there so they see that as a resource. So if they get stuck on their homework, they can use it, or if they're preparing for college readiness exams, they can use it.
Wow. It really sounds like we're doing more than just leveling the playing field. We're really elevating the playing field for our kids with those opportunities.
That's our goal. Our goal is to take wherever our students are and put them in a global readiness, not just in Texas. We want our students to succeed wherever they decide to land.
So what about that student who maybe goes home and doesn't have access to Wi-Fi to be able to access the resources that we're talking about? What do they do? Well,
there's several options. We have about 120 businesses right now that they have a sticker, and I think right now they're probably putting that sticker graphic up on the screen. But it's a business that says, we welcome your students to come here and they can do their homework here for free Wi-Fi. And so there's also apps out there for the parents, whether you realize this or not. If you just put in your app store free Wi-Fi and download that app on your iPhone or your device, it will tell you everywhere in the community, no matter where you are, that offers free Wi-Fi in every business. So not only do we have a partnership of 120 businesses, and that's on our website to tell parents where students can go to do homework, we also keep one high school open each night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night throughout the district. And as long as the student has their high school ID badge, they do not have to be a student at that school to go to that library. All of our high school students are welcome at those libraries. And so we want to sit there and make sure parents understand that there's no reason why, if connectivity is an issue, that we cannot provide opportunities for them. And if there's businesses out there listening to this and they want to call us and they want to be a partner with us, we welcome that.
That's a great partnership to begin. What about kids who haven't opted in yet or want to opt in now?
Students can always opt in at any time. And there's always a hesitation sometimes. I think some parents are sitting there going, well, I don't know if I want my child to have one. Not that they don't embrace technology, but maybe it's the responsibility of carrying around a $500 device, and they know their child better than we do. But at some point, what we hope is once it becomes so ingrained into what we are doing at middle school and high school, that it's just a natural thing that everybody just comes to expect that the students, do understand the responsibility behind the device, and they carry them and use them.
It's just another educational tool, maybe like the books they used to bring or the pencils and paper, perhaps.
Absolutely.
What about the parent? You mentioned, that we're not necessarily digital natives like our students are. Is there any support for parents?
We have parent support all the time. There's different programs going on at high schools. We advertise that out to the parents. We send emails. We put it on our Twitter accounts. We really want the parents to understand, if they have questions, please come to these events and ask your questions. We'll get the answers to you. We try to think of every question a parent might have, but there's still questions out there that maybe we didn't consider, and a parent brings up a good point, and we need to address that. So it is a communication and a partnership with parents.
Where could a parent go if they wanted to get additional information?
I would always start at the high schools. I would start with their high school counselors. I would start at, because I think they're the ones that are going to have the answers on if it's a process on how to check I didn't opt in for an iPad. How do I opt in now? Each of our high schools have a technician that just deals with iPad issues. If iPad breaks, and I think you were going to ask me a question on that in a minute, but if an iPad breaks, what do you do? If it doesn't work, how do I get it fixed? And so we have all of that infrastructure at each of the schools. So there's people at the schools ready to answer those questions for you.
Well, and really, if a student lost a device of their own versus losing the iPad, there is an advantage to them having a school-issued iPad, isn't there?
Absolutely. And so so parents understand, we have a tracking system within each of the iPads. And so if an iPad gets lost, misplaced, or unfortunately maybe somebody steals it, the moment they turn it on, it sends us a GPS so we know exactly where the iPad is. And the police will go get it for us. And so if it gets lost, you accidentally left it in your car, or you went to the grocery store and left it in the cart and didn't realize it until you got out in the car, and you want to know where it is, you call our number, and we will sit there and track it for you and tell you exactly where it is. We'll even go get it for you.
So, Dr. Morrison, you mentioned that you've done this before, and you have kids who are in school and were issued iPads. Do you have any tips for parents who may be new to this, having an iPad in their home?
Yeah. What I would tell parents is this: there's never a good substitute for good parenting, and I would say this with their iPhones or any kind of smart technology device, whether we're talking about an iPad or just any kind of smartphone. Monitor it. Our iPads don't allow students to go to a site they're not supposed to go to. We have that built within our system. So they're not going to go to sites on our device that they're not supposed to. If they try to, it sends a little warning to them and a warning to us that they tried it. And then the student gets called into the principal's office, and then we have to have a conversation about responsibility and tell them not to do it again. If they try it again, then the iPad is a privilege. It's not a right. We'll take the iPad back away from you. But as a parent, I always did this. I had a high school senior when the iPads came out the first time in the district I was at. And my rule was this: once homework was done, the iPad came downstairs and got plugged into the wall and was charged downstairs. They didn't need it in their room. They didn't need to be up there socializing on it. They had she had her iPhone, so she could use her own phone. But that way it was seen as a tool for education, not as a play tool. And we want the students to use it. We want they can listen to music. They can do all sorts of things. But when it's time for the students to go to bed, put the device up, charge it downstairs where you sleep.
It really sounds like these are going to make such a difference for our kids in our classrooms, maybe make our teachers' jobs easier. So these are really exciting times in Garland ISD, and of course our middle schoolers have that to look forward to next year.
Yes, they do.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I would just encourage parents to communicate with us, anything that they think would make the process go better. I have a high school student, so I see it from a day-to-day basis in my home, but everybody's homes are different. So just continue to communicate with us, and we'll continue to refine our process and hopefully continue to provide our students with the best opportunities educationally.
Well, Dr. Morrison, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us and giving us that important information to share with our students and our parents and our staff. So that concludes our superintendent update for today. Thanks for joining us.